Hello, everyone, and this is Soul Work for those of you who are just tuning in, and I'm your host, Jenny Cousins, and welcome back. And we are officially taking calls, Calgary, so by all means, give us a call. That number is 403-539-6710. And on tonight's show, I have my guest, Taron Puri, on, and let us know what you're thinking, Calgary, because we already have someone on hold.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times we have people on hold.
Well, it's such a huge topic that we can't do it justice in a few minutes.
Yeah.
It can go in so many directions.
It can actually.
So it's nice sometimes to have a question to get us directed to what
It
is
is.
in another person's mind.
Yes, yes, we do. And we have Carolyn on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, we have callers.
Okay. Well, bring it on.
Carolyn, you have
Okay,
a
thank you.
question for us. Hello?
Oh, hi, Jenny.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you have a question for us.
Yes, I just want to know, I've been trying to do a lot of work with my finances, and I wonder if you can see any light at the end of this road for me.
Can you actually speak up a little bit? I can barely hear you.
Yes, it's low.
Oh, okay, sure. I've been working on my finances,
Sinuses.
and I'm wondering if you could see any light at the end of this road for me.
I keep on hearing springtime being actually circled for you. Finances are, of course, all about balancing everything as best as you can and looking at reality with everything. And I know right now with Christmas, people feel the need to go spending money, which is actually, you don't need to go spending money. It's not about how much you spend on a gift for someone. The gift should come from the heart anyways. But no, you're going to get back on track next year. And I just really feel that next year for you, it's going to be a much open year for you. So just be open for opportunity. March is what I'm hearing. So
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Bye.
You're very welcome. What about you, Taron, if somebody was struggling financially, as Carolyn had brought up, what would you suggest?
I want to direct people to stop getting caught up in categories in their lives. If it's not finances, then it's relationship. If it's in relationship, it's health. And it just becomes a merry-go-round. And instead, step back one level and just look at it all as energy that's either flowing or stuck. And when you look at the common denominator here, you start to understand that common denominator is me. It's my finances, my relationships, my health, which then points me backwards to my thinking and my story. And I find that when I'm blocked in finance, in relationship, in health, it usually has something to do with my story and less to do with what's happening out there. There are a lot of people and a lot of businesses that prosper during downtimes. If you look at the history of business, some of the biggest names in business today, all the big, huge names, the blue chip companies, a lot of them came back and thrived when we were in depression, when everything was down. See?
Yeah.
So I'm finding that rather than being focused on, well, how are my finances and how's my health and how's my relationships, that's all great. But it usually has something to do with you and your thinking, your thought processes based on the experiences you've had. And sometimes if we don't explore them, it's like this. It's like a computer. Let's say you had a computer with an old program and that program is running and you're trying to function off of that program today. And you come to me and say, well, I'm really stuck. And I'm like, well, how come you're running this Windows 95 program, right? When you're trying to now move forward, it can't handle the changes. We need to change the operating system. We need to change the environment, the thinking. So let's bring in some new programs and overwrite or rewrite, delete some of those old programs. And then the finances, the relationships, the health, all of that begins to become the outcome of you making the changes on the inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I know, like, especially the economy here, because I get a lot of calls and such like that as well. For,
Yes.
How do I manage this and how do I manage that with the economic situation where
Sure.
people got laid off or
Sure.
everything stopped for them? What
Yeah.
would you suggest to them?
I would suggest get still.
Yeah.
Rather than going into chaos and reaction, okay, become still. And again, this is part of the inner guru work, because the inner guru carries your solutions for you. See, if you already knew it all, you wouldn't need an inner guru. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Okay? But when we become stuck, if we react, we actually amplify the situation and we give our power away. The training is to have enough awareness and say, okay, there is an obstacle in front of me. Now, can I actually become still and quiet and learn how to listen to that inner guru? I've been meditating for over 40 years, and I've been teaching meditation. And meditation isn't some esoteric process that gets you way out there. Actually, it's a process that connects you with your inner guru. And it's amazing how solutions will come to you and through you once you take that time to listen rather than going into panic.
Yeah, because I know there was an accountant for years and years and years. He was in the oil industry.
Okay.
So he made really, really good money.
Yes.
And to make a long story short, he works at Shoppers Drug Mart.
Okay.
He's been at Shoppers Drug Mart for quite some time.
Okay.
You know, and I said that's a huge change.
Yes.
And he goes, you know what? He said, I love my job. And I said, and I was just curious to see what he was saying.
Sure.
And I says, why do you love your job compared to being an accountant? He goes, I don't ever want to be an accountant before. And I said, why not? And he said, because I have no pressure here.
There you go.
And he said, when I was, in the oil industry, an accountant, he says, I saved money, I invested money and such, so I'm not worried about that. And he says, I can come into my job every day and I don't get all this pressure from everybody.
Yeah. He's free. He has a quality of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He finds himself free, and he says, I could quit at any time I want to.
When I mentor my executives, my VPs, and usually very successful people, I take them from a place of success to fulfillment. And that's what you're talking about here. What does success look like? We all know. What does fulfillment look like? For this gentleman, it was getting out of accounting and working at a retail store.
Yeah.
That's what fulfilled him.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's individual for everybody else. We come here with certain gifts and abilities. And many times we come here and we never connect with our purpose. I mean, maybe our purpose is just to be here, just to be and smile. I'm not saying it has to be something huge, jumping out of airplanes and all of that, but it's about being aligned with your purpose, and you will never, ever be able to know what that is unless you've taken a bit of time with yourself and listened. We don't listen. There's noise all the time around, and we produce noise, we're around noise. We don't go into stillness and listen. And whether it's, again, finances or health, of course you have to, at a practical level, deal with whatever is before you. But there's a part of you that needs to go deeper, back, one step back, two steps back, and go within and begin to recalibrate from the places of your thoughts and your thinking.
Yeah.
And when you have a disciplined mind, imagine there's a huge bright light. It's very powerful, it's bright, but it's a big spotlight. Now imagine the same power, but all I've done is I've focused that light into a beam. Same power, same light. Now we are able to cut through a 6-foot wall. It's called a laser. Same light. So can we take our mind with all the potential we have, all the brightness, and can we bring it into laser focus? And how we do that is by getting still from within.
Yeah, tuning within. And I know that the more busy you get, of course, the more you don't hear your soul speak, as I call it. Because that's what I'll tell somebody, the more busy you are, the more time alone you need.
That's right.
Because then you get decluttered. I get like that.
Of course.
And then I'm like, oh my God, I need to now really sit back and, have my space and my time.
Well, look at nature. All of nature sleeps, it rests. Winter comes and the birds are gone.
Oh, good point.
Right?
Good point.
But human beings, we never rest.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
It might go, oh, you're just being lazy, or who do you think you are, right? And come on, let's produce, right?
Yeah.
And we're on this push all the time. And we have artificial lighting, and artificial lighting has created artificial day, so that it's never rest or nighttime, because we can just extend the daylight.
Exactly.
Whereas all of nature lives according to the cycles of nature, only we think we're smarter than nature.
Definitely.
And so again,
Yeah.
our whole system goes out of whack, physiologically, chemically. And so there's so many different ways to understand how we have moved away from our nature. So in Finding the Guru Within, I'm trying to give people some insights into practically how they get themselves into a mess through the workings of the ego, of ignorance, of not being aware, and how you can start to practically move yourself out of that by changing one little thought, one little practice in your life. How to start practicing surrender. Okay? There's two kinds of surrender. Let me give you a visual. When I say to you, Jenny, you've got to surrender, you go, I'm not surrendering. Because to you, surrender is, I'm surrendering. And who wants to feel disempowered? But what if I said to you, let me reframe the surrender. This is not surrender, this is surrender. I surrender. The minute I surrender and let go, my hands are open to receive.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay? And this kind of surrender allows me to be supported. So it's again approaching your everyday real situations, but from a very different, very centered, and very empowered space and place. Requires faith, requires trust.
Yeah.
But the results are phenomenal.
They are. They are. And because I've always surrendered everything. Always, 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 always.
Okay.
And that's when I find that when I do that, things will flow. But then you get stuck at times, certain things get thrown at you, then your mind goes everywhere, and then you make, a decision you shouldn't be making a decision of, and then you're like, oh my God.
Well, we come from fear.
Yeah, yeah.
Fear is very compelling.
Yeah,
And that's just being human.
yeah,
We also have to be kind to ourselves, that
Yes.
when we shift into human consciousness, we'll behave a certain way. When we shift into soul consciousness,
Yeah.
we're operating off a different information system. And sometimes we feel like we're being hypocritical or somehow we're not being consistent. I know better, but do I do better? But what we have to realize is that we're shifting back and forth between soul consciousness and human consciousness. And so we must be kind to ourselves and accept that sometimes we do falter, we do buy into fear, we do react, and do give our power away. The good news is that you can reclaim it.
yes, you can.
And it's over time, through conscious practice, through building your awareness, through creating an attitude that is clear and taking full accountability for your story, past and present, and then therefore future, we create alignment in our lives. And when we get aligned, it's like a car. When all four tires are aligned and you tell the car
can drive
to go
it.
from A to B, it's going to take you from A to B
Yeah.
because all four tires are pointing towards your goal. If you have a car that's out of alignment, you're not going to get from A to B no matter how much you're trying.
Yeah,
Okay? Because it's going to pull you.
in a different direction. Yeah,
So physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually,
Yeah.
the question to ask is, are we in alignment?
yeah,
And if we're not,
Yeah.
what old program, therefore, what old thought do we need to say goodbye to?
yeah,
And what new program or new thought can we replace it with?
Yeah.
And then it's just simple, good
Yeah,
old
yeah.
practice.
yeah. Because this December is a higher consciousness month, anyways. So a lot of time in December, I'll just take a lot more space.
Yes,
And right now with the supermoon energy too,
sure.
it's taking advantage of the energy and really working it as best as we can.
Well, there's a lot of good shifts on the planet in consciousness happening. It's like a good wave coming in, like a surfer looks for a good wave. And you've got to learn how to
Yeah,
ride that wave,
yeah.
right? Or it rides you.
Yeah. Yes, it
Yeah.
does. It overtakes you, the fear.
Yeah. I think we're in a very
Swallows up.
positive time, actually. I think we're at a
Yeah.
fantastic time. Change always unnerves us because it brings up survival, and we're
Yeah.
built to survive.
Yeah.
But I think that if we can reframe and trust and become still
Yeah.
in the midst of all the madness
Yeah. Yeah.
and tame the fear a little bit,
Yes.
then I feel that at a
Yeah.
practical level,
Exactly.
we'll be able to rise.
Exactly. Well, I'd love to speak to you more, Taron, but I'm
It's
already
time.
getting the wrap up
Oh my
sign
gosh.
already.
We've just started.
I know. That's the problem. But for those of you who'd like to get to know Taron more,
Yes.
you can easily find him and read his website. And I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I know you're
always.
still jet lagged, of course.
It's all good.
It is all good. And I'm your host, Jenny Cousins. This is Soul Work. We're live on Shaw TV, and I will see you again. Have a great Christmas, everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes, and a Happy New Year.
I love Christmas.